Hi, Julie Torrance here. So I've got some junk mail, and it's a junk journal July coming up. And I don't know if some of you are interested in maybe taking part, and I'm not going to do the challenge exactly, but I do want to focus on my junk journaling in July. So I'm just taking these envelopes and I'm just slicing them down the side so that I get flat papers like this. And I've done several. So you do not need a chopper for this. You can use a pair of scissors. And I'm going to start by making a base for a junk journal cover. This junk journal is going to be made out of junk as much as we can. And I think we can do good. Now I want my journal to be able to take a page that is about 8.5 by 11 folded in half. So that means I want my base to be at least 12 or a little bit more. So I'm just using the ruler on here. I'm using Elmer's glue, and use what you have. When you're using something like Elmer's glue, spread it out. Is Elmer's glue my favorite glue? No. But is it something that most people have in their homes? Yes. I don't want you to feel like to get started in junk journaling that you have to start spending a lot of money, because you don't. You really don't. So yes, I'm overlapping these, and we're going to be doing several layers. Just try to keep it from gluing straight to my desk. Sorry for the wiggle jiggle. Let's get another one on here. Okay. And I want to go bigger, because when it's done, it will not be difficult to cut. And we're just going to layer and layer and layer. So yes, how many of you, let me know in the comments, have been just on the fence about junk journaling, and maybe for junk journaling July, you're going to give it a try. Now, I will try to find this hashtag for Junk Journal July 2025 and link it in the, I don't want to waste this glue, and just link it in the description. But if I can't find it, just like I said, hashtag Junk Journal July. Now you're going to see some wrinkling as this goes. Most of that will come out. And when you've got little loose bits, don't worry about it, because we're going to be layering this up. Okay? Now, I had a paper towel, just like me. There we go. Now my glue was old. So, let's see, how much do I want to overlap? So I had to add a little bit of water just to get it to come out. So don't you worry if you need to do that. Now, like I said, is Elmer's my favorite glue? Not really. Why? It's awfully wet, and it takes a long time to dry. Can I use it for a project like this? Oh yeah, of course I can. Of course I can. A lot of times, a lot of us that make videos doing paper art and stuff, the reason why we use, part of the reason why we use some of these more expensive glues is simply because we are doing a video and it dries so fast. And, you know, that's pretty important for us. But if you don't mind some dry time, which we're going to experience, then get your Elmer's. And, you know, why should you spend maybe over $10 on a glue when Elmer's glue comes very reasonably priced? And you don't know, you don't know if this is something you're going to want to keep up, right? Okay, so I've got from 5 to 21. So I believe that's 16 inches. And I've got from 16, it's about 16 inches this way. So we're good. We're good. Let's get another layer on. I've got little ones, I've got big ones, but now I'm going to start putting glue over the whole thing. I know you're probably saying, why don't you lay this down? It'll run right out, but I can try. And there's little bits in there that want to clog it, but we're going to see if we can just work past that. Because you're going to have the same troubles. Yes, you are. Let's see. Unclog the glue, Julie. Will do. If I can do it with a pin, I will. Now let's give this a go. We'll see what that does. A little bit. Okay, let me just check this out. Okay, took me a minute to get that glue going, but she's going and we're going to keep going. So I've got the one layer on. During that time it did dry, but I know it's going to take a minute to dry, so I just wanted to keep going. I am going to put the glue on the main paper. Again, get a card. You could use a piece of cardboard. You could use just about anything. So I kind of forget what I was saying in the midst of all this glue drama, and I'm laying this so that now it's crossing over pieces. So I'm not laying like envelope directly on top of envelope, but I'm changing it up so that we're going over the seams type of thing. Get just some white glue. We want to make a junk journal using what we have. That is my goal for this Junk Journal July, is I want y'all to be able to, I've got another card. Hang on. I just don't want to put glue on top and bottom right yet. I want you to be able to do Junk Journal July, if that's your goal, with buying as few things as possible. Use what you have to see if you're liking this process. And we're going to be putting several layers on this, because this is going to be our cover. And like I had said, I'm planning this to be a journal that is going to have 8.5 by 11 paper folded in half, because I think that's what most of us have the most of. Don't you agree? And again, I'm trying to put this kind of crossing over each other. And there are little windows, and I'm just ignoring them. That doesn't matter. I saw a technique like this. Well, Anne Kenlin, she did something like this with a Frankenstein paper type of thing, which this is going to be similar to that. It sure will. But again, I want you to start saving up your junk mail envelopes and start working on your junk journal dreams using what you have. I know you see a lot of fancy papers. You see digitals. You see people with buckets and buckets of scraps. And that's great. And if that's you, go for it, of course. But I know that the whole junk journaling, scheme? I don't know what to call it. Trend, I think is a good word, is growing. And so I know that I've seen some questions not only on my own channel, but on other people's channels that just speak to me that people are new. People are new to this. And I don't know about you, but if I'm starting a hobby, I don't necessarily want to spend $100 on supplies, and I'm not even sure I'm going to enjoy that hobby, right? I mean, does that ring true with any of you? So I'm getting another, and these are smaller pieces, little envelopes that kind of fell apart. I feel like I'm almost doing a process like paper mache, you know? But I want to get several layers on this because I want a nice sturdy cover. Now, you can also maybe start, if you have a cereal box or a cracker box, be mindful of the size of where you're starting and what your cover will then be able to fit. I am trying to avoid having just purely dry paper. I want things to be stuck down. It won't be perfect, but it'll be fine. All right, let's get, ooh, I'm making it worse, huh? It's all right. Let's put this one right here. Spreading this white glue out. And there's nothing wrong with Elmer's. It's, the reason why I don't use a lot of Elmer's is a lot has to do with dry time. But it is a good PVA style glue. Now, if you have to go out and buy glue, you just don't have any. It's okay. I do not recommend school glue or glue that says how washable it is. Washable glue is not designed to stick. Oh, it'll stick paper. It's great for kids' crafts, and it washes off their clothes, and it'll wash off your walls, and it has a definite purpose. However, their regular glue, the glue-all, that is gonna stick. It's not washable. And anything I've ever made with Elmer's, it holds. It really holds. If there's places it's not holding, that hasn't been the glue's fault. That's been my fault. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up. I have right now in, I think, every place 2 layers. And in this middle, that's a 3rd layer. And if I'm getting off the screen, sorry. But I'm going bigger because I would rather trim it to size. Did I even get any glue over here? Yeah, I did. Get the dry one. So I'm going to keep going just like this. I'm going to let it dry overnight. And when I come back, we're going to come up with the next bit of this project. I'll be back. All right. This is dry. It's dry on both sides. I let it dry overnight. And I recommend that you do the same thing because we heaped a lot of glue on here. So now I'm going to cut it down to the size that I want. The first step is I need to make a straight line. And, you know, we've got weird pieces coming out here, there. I'm going to cut it off now. Get something. Maybe you have a T-square or something like that. I have lines on my board, so I am just going to set this. Now, this is not a real straight line. I'll bring it down one more. This is not a real straight line, but I'm just going to make it as straight as I can. It's these lines that go vertical that I'm going to utilize. So I'm going to line this up. I'm going to bring it this way a little bit. And I think once I start cutting straight, so I'm putting my, can you see? Yeah, I'm putting my ruler along that straight line. So my ruler should be straight. Got a pencil, and these lines are going to be covered, so don't worry. Okay, let's get ourselves a nice straight line. I'm going to push this up, and I can just put my ruler right along that straight line to keep it all straight. And there we go. Now that's going to be one line. Now that I have this straight line, I'm going to line it up. And again, just use whatever you have that you know you can make a straight line. And I've lined it up here, and I've lined it up over here. Now I'm going to, again, use these lines, which I think I'm going to go in one because I have more raggedy stuff. So I'm going to go in so that I feel like I'm cutting, I'll be cutting away a lot of unevenness or places that aren't the same thickness. Because I want this to end up pretty much with the same number of layers. Okay, and I've got you as far away as I can to show you as much as I can. Okay, so now I've got this straight line and this straight line. I want this journal cover to be 11.5 by 9.5. More than that, 12 by 9.5. So this is a 12-inch ruler, and I could depend on just the edge of my ruler to keep my line straight, but since I do have a graph here, I'm going to mark my 12 inches. So I'm going to take it so that all right. So I ended it at the 2-inch mark, and my ruler is straight. Boy, it doesn't look straight to me, but I just have to trust the process. Here we go. And I'm just heading out 12 inches. Well, really 11. So now I need to add. Did I go all the way to the end? Did you see me? Let's see. Okay. Now I want to do that in another place. So line this up so that my ruler is straight, but I'm going to need it to be 12 inches. Ooh, that went off. And then there we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to continue by this straight line, lining my ruler up with it, and I'm just going to go all the way across. Now, I'm going right in that corner. See, I've got a corner here. I'm going right in that corner with my ruler, marking 12. Same here. I'm going to go all the way across and mark 12. Now I can join these two and bring this up. I know this may be confusing, but if you just kind of think about it, you'll be okay. All right, so now I've got my 12 inches. So now I want it to be 9. It's 8.5 paper, so I want it 9.5. So I'm just using this line and turn my ruler around. Why? Because I want the 1 here. All right, 9.5, 9.5. Well, I'm on a window. Too hard to measure right on that. Am I lined up? Yep. 9.5. Same way. 9.5. Join these. Okay, so now I've got my measurements. Let's cut it out. And the longer your scissors, the better. And these parts that are going to come off, I was just looking. We're going to save these. Just set them aside. As I'm cutting, I'm saying to myself in my mind, I hope I've got this right. And I think I do. All right. So if I did any of this correct, this should be 12. It is. This should be 9.5. It is. Okay, so on to the next step. All right, so if it looks like I started without you, I accidentally did. So let's just back up. I just moved you closer, and then I pulled out some Amazon, or really, you know, obviously any kind of packing paper. I just grabbed a ruler and started making rectangles, just like this. It's a little bit challenging because the paper is so long. There we go. And let's get another one. And I'm not measuring. I don't care if my ruler's perfectly straight. I'm just going with it. Alrighty, and I'm just gonna make these into some manageable pieces, and I'm gluing them on. Now, I could take that Amazon packaging and simply lay it on top and glue the whole thing down in one sheet, but doing it the way that we are, if any place on here is a little thicker, a little thinner, something wants to pop up, this is going to just make it stronger. Having seams in different places makes it stronger. I've got a glue book. This is just an old catalog, junk mail catalog. And I use it because I'm using glue stick, and I think this part got cut off. This is an Elmer's extra strength glue stick. This is a Scotch permanent glue stick. I like them both as far as the glue. I like this size better. I've used these before, but they're hard to find. This is easier to find, but I didn't want to spend a fortune until I found out if I liked it or not. But the Elmer's extra strength is good. Use whatever glue stick you have. It'll be fine for this project. This isn't something I'm taking it for granted that you're going to sell. I'm taking it for granted that this is a journal for you, because it's your first journal, right? And you're just getting started. Or maybe you want to show other people how to do a junk journal, and you're watching this to get some tips on how to show people the very beginning, because that's pretty much what this is. Okay, I see I missed some gluing right in there. All right, now this is about half. We're going to be bending this at that half. So what I don't want is to run a piece of my cover right along there, because when you bend it, this will come up. I don't care what kind of Gorilla Glue you use, it's going to want to come up. So I'm going to be mindful of that center so that when I fold it, I am not folding right on a seam. So that's one of the things I'm keeping in mind. The other is I want this paper to go all the way over. So I'm placing these, and you'll see with this next one. Let me just get the glue on it. I am placing this so that I've got leftover to fold over, which is what I want to do. And when I fold it, there's not a seam right there. All right, let's get this one, and then we can take our mind off of that. When you're going to the store and you're getting glue stick, why am I saying, get a good glue stick? I've not tried it, but the Dollar Tree in the United States, their brand is called Jot, J-O-T. I have watched video on top of video that people that are smarter than me when it comes to junk journaling have said it doesn't hold. And I think just by looking at the packaging, it's really designed for kids. Avoid, once you decide, this is something I like, I'm going to spend some money on some supplies. Glue stick is going to be one of your first supplies. And don't get one, again, like the Elmer's. Don't get one that is washable, kid-friendly, all that, because it's not designed to stick forever. And although I'm not saying what we're making is forever archival, I mean, this paper that we're using right now could be not acid-free and all that, but we're not looking to make a museum quality or something I'm going to sell at a craft show that I want someone to be able to put their baby pictures in forever. You know what I mean? We're making a junk journal for us. So will this cover that? Nope. How about this? Yep. It goes faster than you would think. Don't you agree? And I know just watching someone paste in glue and isn't the most riveting, but we're also just kind of talking about stuff. So stuff you could save to make a cover. Maybe you're just like, you know what? I don't want to make a cover out of junk mail envelopes. I hear you. Get yourself or save, go in your recycle bin, cracker boxes, cereal boxes, cake mix boxes. All of those things can make great journal covers. If you want to see me make a journal cover out of those kinds of things, you've got to let me know in the comments, because then I know that's something you want. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, I want to do junk journaling, but this just isn't it. Okay, it's fine. Go to other junk journal people. Treasure books. That's Natasha. Natasha has a different style. She uses a lot of fabric, but she also uses cereal boxes, cracker boxes. Gail Agostinelli. Yes, she uses a lot of digitals when she makes her journals. Digitals are just... Oh, I thought I put one there, and then I ended up not. Typical me. Let's get another piece that'll go there. Natasha uses, pardon me, a lot of fabrics, but a lot of magazine art, things like that. Another great one is Anne Kenlin. And I will list these people's channels on the description box that's under this video. You'll see a few words in the description box that just talk about a little bit about like the title of this, but it'll say more, or it'll have little arrows pointing down. That's what you need to click on. And then I will have these that I'm mentioning, their channels. And then look for things like they have playlists. I'm 99% sure that Gail Agostinelli has an entire playlist of cover making. She has said in many of her videos, it's one of her most favorite parts of junk journaling is making covers. So take a look over there. Probably going to need to have a few more pieces of this. Now, when you're doing what I'm doing and you're getting all excited to see what this cover is going to look like. Ah, glue is almost gone. Don't fold it to the shape of your cover until it's dry. I know, I mean, I'm right there with you. I want to see what this is going to look like right away. Thing is, when it's wet and you fold it, you get a lot more wrinkles, bumps, and weirdness than you would if you let it dry. I don't care what kind of glue you use. Now, if all you have is that Elmer's glue that we started out with, you can do that with this, and you're just going to do it doing the same technique that we did when we were putting the envelopes together. Right here, how I butted those up is amazing, but I did, and I can just see my little envelopes peeking through. So this last piece, and maybe I can finish off this glue stick. There's someone, I forget her name, but she's a viewer on Gail Agostinelli, is keeping track of how many glue sticks Gail gets through in a year. And so I am interested to hearing what that number is when it comes, because I go through a lot of glue stick too. Anyone that's doing this probably does. I do happen to have another glue stick on hand, and I have more. Buy your glue sticks one at a time at whatever your stores are. And you know, you can even look in office supply stores, but that tends to be your more expensive. Hang on, I gotta grab that brown paper. I set it aside and it blew away. All right, let's get some more rectangles here. We just need a little bit more. One more. Now, why am I tearing instead of using scissors? Two things. It's faster, but more importantly for me, I find that the edges lay down better when they're tore rather than when they're cut with scissors. You don't get that sharp demarcation, and I think the fibers are just reacting differently because they're torn. And I like I like the way it lays down. All right, now, a little more glue. All right. This just feels like I didn't get any glue right here. Operator error. All right, there we go. Now, one thing I noticed, this right here feels a little floppier than this side. So I'm gonna go ahead using these bigger pieces and just make it a little bit more layered to kind of even up the score a little bit. It's not gonna be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect. If you're looking for a perfect journal, go to Hallmark. They've got beautiful, perfect journals made by machine. But this is made by you, for you, and you're learning. So don't set your expectations way up high. Can you see though that this is going to be a nice hearty journal, and we made it out of junk mail envelopes and Amazon packaging, right? How beautiful is that? We are keeping things out of the landfill. And I think if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. If you're noticing that I'm moving just a little bit odd, I hurt my shoulder and I'm recovering from that, but my right arm just doesn't like reaching. Okay, so I folded this over, but right here, there's no glue. So I'm just giving this a little more glue, and I am not cutting out the bulk because this is very thin paper, and that added corner structure is a good thing. Okay, now, this one. Isn't that something? It's just wanting to give me a little heartache. You're gonna stay down, buddy. Okay, now we've got the outside of our cover essentially done, except for decorating. And when we're decorating it, we're gonna have just such a nice blank canvas. Okay, here's our other side. Now, remember I folded it over? Any place, number one, that feels a little flimsy, this feels a little flimsy. I'm going to give it another layer, just like that. And then any place that the rolling it over was a little bit stingy, I'm going to add some there as well, because it's just going to make it so much easier when we go to cover the inside. Yes, it will. All right. Is this where it was flimsy? Yes. And that's going to help. And then these places, just putting some more glue on. If I'm off the screen, I'm sorry, but I'm just wiggling glue on. Let's get these edges right. I seem like I was a little remiss in not getting those edges good. I'm going to put this one right here. Now, you can do the whole inside with this brown paper. Nothing wrong with that. It can be very lovely. But I'm going to just show you another way to cover the inside. And you may have some scrapbook paper left over from an old project, or wrapping paper, wallpaper samples. Use what you have, use what you enjoy, use what you want. I guess the only thing I would say is it's going to be paper, probably. I can't imagine it not being paper. Okay. And I think I'm just going to tear this one in half. here we go. I've got this edge. I'm going to put it this way. Oh, brother. Dry as a bone. When you were watching me do this gluing, you probably were saying, you didn't get here, you didn't get there. All right. There we go. And see if I can do a little bit better. I just want to get a little more up here. All right. Okay, now, one more step for this part of making the cover. The inside. Again, use what paper you have. I've got a dictionary. If you say, you know what, I really like doing this, when you go to the thrift store, when you go to the library, get some old books. Now, this is an old dictionary that I got from the Goodwill, and I love the aged color. I don't want all the same letter. And I'm going to get one more. When you're looking at old books, get one that you feel confident doesn't have bad words. And I am going to do the same with this that I did for my Amazon packaging. I want to get rid of that one edge and then I'm going to just make rectangles or squares. These are tearing a little bit rough. I have a different ruler, but I wanted to use this regular old wooden ruler like most everyone has at home. If you have a metal ruler, you'll find that it works better. If you have an acrylic ruler, which I have both, but I wanted you to use what you have. I don't want you to feel like, well, I don't have that kind of ruler, I can't do this. You can. Use what you have. Okay. Let's do another one. Get rid of that. Now, could I lay these one on top of the other and tear two at a time? I can, but if you think the edge is rough now, with paper like this, it's going to even be rougher. Okay, now I'm stopping right here because this is an awfully nice corner. And see, I'm going to bring it almost to the edge, but I'm not going to fold it over like I did for the cover. So let's get this, get my glue stick, and I'm going to use this nice edge. And get that in the corner. You will see a lot of people that collage, and that's what we're doing. Whoops. We are collaging this on the outside and on the inside. We're just not using all kinds of different papers, which you can, if that's your thing. But I want corners. Now, I'm going to have the writing either go up and down or left to right. I'm not going to put them in, I probably won't put them in upside down, and I'm not going to put them in like at an angle like that. Now, what I was saying is a lot of people that you'll see them doing their collage work, and they will start with all four corners. Carrie the Crafter does that. Gail does that. This is why. You want to grab these nice edges and get those corner pieces fit in. You'll just be glad you did. Okay. Now, keep it going. Here's another one. Nice corner. Whoa. You know what I'm thinking? I'm not making excuses. I think this old paper is just really absorbing this glue, but it'll be fine. It will be fine. My right arm is not as strong as it usually is, and so I may not be pressing hard enough either. All right, now I'm just going to put a couple more pieces. Now this one has a nice straight edge here. And this one is a better middle piece. So I'm going to put it where I'm not exactly worried about the edge. And remember the same thing, 6 inches. So I'm going to put this one right here. Oh, upside down. That's okay. That's okay. Not going to worry about it. One more. Okay, now watching me glue, I'm sure isn't as riveting for you as it is fun for me. So when I come back, I will have all this covered. All right, our cover is dry, and it feels very sturdy. Now, we want to fold it in half. So we've got 12 inches. I am just going to mark the 6-inch point in a couple of places, and don't worry, we're not going to see it later. And now I'm going to join these lines so that I know where my mark is. Now, if I just try to fold this, it's going to fight me. So, and I'm going to decide top or bottom, and I picked, let's see, this way to be the way that I want it, because I just like the way the words fell. I'm going to put my ruler right up to that line, and I'm going to fold it, and I just backed it up a little, and I'm just going to ease it, and it'll be fine. There, okay. Should be able to fold it the rest of the way. And kind of lining things up. It's not going to be perfect, don't worry. I'm just lining up my corners. There, and that's pretty good. Now, I'm going to check and see. See? I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. So you can take Elmer's glue. I'm going to use art glitter glue. This is going to be one of those things, if you decide I really would like to do this, it's going to be one of those things that I recommend that you get, is a good glue stick and some art glitter glue. I've never found it in any store. I've always had to buy it online, and I have just hearing other folks talk about it. It was designed originally to use with glitter because it dries really fast, and that's why I'm using it today. Okay, so here's our cover. Now, it wants to spring open, normal. I'm just gonna take a clamp. I'm gonna clamp it shut and just let it be like that for a little bit. I picked out some papers. Now again, if you've got fancy papers, maybe old stationery, maybe you've got some, notebook paper, or just plain colored copy paper. This is just copy paper, and it's not the good stuff. It's the stuff I buy as cheap as you can get, and I buy it from an, like Office Max, Office Depot, that kind of store, and it's their brand. I use this when I need to make printouts of something that, I don't know, like my taxes or something like that, and it doesn't need good paper, just any paper. But again, use what you have. And I think I picked out about 5 sheets of this. Yeah. Now, when you're making a junk journal like this, and we're just making one signature, so it's just going to be one grouping of papers, you can go much higher than what we're going to do, but we're just getting started. I'm just folding them in half. Now this is a sheet of paper that came in the mail, and it's advertising. I'm going to use it. Why not? I've got this. What is this? Oh, this is some information that comes with my medicine that comes in the mail, but it doesn't have my name on it or anything like that. So I'm just using that. This is a receipt from ordering my coffee. I'm going to use that, and I think I'm going to fold these with the printing in instead of out. Just head into your recycle bin and get you some paper. All right. Now you're going to hear talk about a bone folder. And bone folders look something like this. Mine is not made of bone, it's made of plastic. They're not expensive. But when you're going to be doing these projects over and over again, a bone folder does help take the fibers of the paper and really put them tight so that you get a much crisper fold. Some people use the handle of a scissors to do it, and that's fine. Some people use a ruler, but the bone folder is really nice and smooth, and you can get a good grip on it. And I've seen them different shapes, but I like that shape best. You don't need to buy one right away. All right, now I'm gonna put my signature together. So I've got the 5 sheets that are plain. So I think I'll start with a plain sheet in the middle, and then I'll grab one of these other sheets, put it in there, grab another plain one. But as I say, if you have notebook paper, if you have stationery and things like that, it doesn't even have to be 8.5 by 11. I'm just trying to keep these things simple so that you don't feel like you have to run out and buy something. Just get some paper. All right, I'm gonna put this one in, and then I'm gonna end with a plain white sheet. Now, the more you stack these papers up, there's width, there's bulk to this. So the inside most sheets are going to stick out a little bit compared to your outside most sheet. For a junk journal, it really doesn't matter. All right, now let's get that cover. Making sure that, and it already is relaxed more than it was. Making sure that you have what you want as the top to the top and the bottom to the bottom. You want to nest this inside. And you can see we've got a nice margin. And I want this to be with this as tight as I can to where it wants to fold. So I'm going to open it up to my center. I am really nesting that in. And now I'm taking clamps. I've seen people not use clamps at all. That doesn't work for me. I'm doing it the way that works for me. You do what works for you. Let me see. Yep, I was making sure that after having that space where I didn't have the camera turned on. All right, now, yeah, this looks even to me. So I'm gonna clamp it here. I'm gonna clamp it here. And one more. Holding my thumb in there because I want it nice and tight. All right, I am gonna fold these down. But as I say, paper clips, big paper clips work fine. Bulldog clips, whatever you have. Now, this is a book binding kit. It was about $10 on Amazon. I decided that I like doing it. I'm going to pick a color that I think goes well with the cover. I bought separate needles and I just picked needles. This says best 2 over 0 and 1. I don't know what that means. If you're a sewer, you do. But I picked it out because it had a nice size needle. The needles that came with this are these curved needles, and I'm not even sure how to use them. Maybe I should learn. But the other thing this kit came with was an awl, which I didn't have. You can use a pokey tool. If you're strong, you can use a needle. But you just want to have something that you can poke through. It's not as hard as you might think. Now I've got an old book. I grabbed this book from the library in the Friends of the Library, but I couldn't use it for book page because it's got bad words, but I can use it for this. So I just am nesting this in the open book. And I'm going to kind of close it a little bit. I'm going to decide, not measuring, about where half is, get my awl through, and then push it through. Now I'm going to go about 1 inch on this side and push it through, and about 1 inch from this side. Bringing these sides up, give it a good push, and now we're done with this. And now I've got my 3 holes, and can I see them from both sides? If I can't, I'm just going to take this awl and push it in a little further because I want to be able to see them nice. Now this thread is waxed thread, and it really is the easiest to use, but you can use embroidery floss. You can use, or people have used dental floss. I don't know how well they work. I've seen people do embroidery floss, and it works pretty well. 3 times the width. So 1, 2, 3, and cut. The waxed thread works nice and friendly It stays put. That's one of the big reasons why I like it. So I'm just threading this big old needle. You're going to have a bow where you're tying this together. If you want that on the inside, you start with the inside. If you want it on the outside, you start from the outside. I want it on the inside, so I'm going right into the middle and pulling my thread through. And I'm going to leave a generous tail because I'm going to need it to tie this all together. Now I go through the top hole and see with those clamps, I'm not fishing around and I'm not making extra holes. Pull it tight. Now all the way across in through that last hole at the bottom. And now back up through the middle, but you don't want to split the threads. So what that means is I'm bringing my needle through the middle, but I don't want to poke through the thread so that I'm splitting the thread. I don't want to do that. So here we are. I'm going to take my needle off and I'm going to put it away because it's the first thing I'll lose. I'm going to put it in its sleeve. I'm going to look at the back. Are these tight? They could be tighter. One of my strings, see here? One of my strings is on the left, one is on the right. I'm going to pull it tight so that these are nice and snug, but not ripping my paper. Put it down there, give it a knot, another knot, and then I'm just going to make a bow on top, and I'm going to give this a trim. This is rolling away. Give this a trim. Save that. And now I can take my clamps off. Now we've just sewn our single signature into our junk journal. Just kind of recap in your mind what we've done. This is a lot. And I realize this is going to be a longer video, but I really wanted to try to get rid of the roadblocks. Now, your paper, get in here now and just kind of page through and give it all a press. Just to kind of help the paper be friends with its new companions. Some of these papers are thicker than others, but look at how much writing you can do in this. And there. Now I'm going to do the same on the back side. That was our middle. And they're laying down just fine. Okay. Now, we're going to come to the part that I always say, it's kind of like Stone Soup. Do you remember that book when you were a kid? The three soldiers come into town and they're hungry, but nobody has anything to feed them. And they said, well, if you guys don't have any food, then you're as hungry as we are. We're going to teach you how to make stone soup. And they just take a big kettle and put boiling water in it. And then they say, but if we had a few carrots, oh, well, I've got a few carrots. And if you have, well, that's what this is going to be. We've got a basic stone soup. Let's make it a little better. Now, this just came in the mail today. And so it's another envelope, but it's the kind of envelope that you're supposed to put something in it and send it back. I'm just going to take this part off. And we can use this in our journal. I'm going to pick one of the pages that has writing on it, like this. Because obviously, well, I could write up here, but I'm not probably going to write all over there. So I guess my point is I don't feel like I'm taking away from the journal. And this is the right size. So I'm just going to take that part, hook it here. Just kind of line it up, fold it over, and it's going to be a flip out. So I'm going to get my glue stick, and I'm going to glue this on. Let's get back to the glue book here. And I'm going to put glue almost to that fold, almost, but not all the way. So I'm going to make that line first. And now I'm just going to fill in the rest. All right. And when I glue this in, I'm going to pay attention to where I'm laying it, because I don't want it to be right up tight against that fold. Just like this. And that gives you just a little easement so that it'll open and close nice. And now you can tuck all kinds of goodies in here. Can you see that? You can tuck all kinds of goodies in there. And there it's nice in your journal. Okay, that was fun. What else are we going to do with our little journal using what we have? Well, maybe you have a greeting card that didn't get sent and you have an extra envelope. You can do the same thing with that. You can just put it in, glue it in, you know, so if you have something like this, that's great. But we already did an envelope. This was in the package from Christina, the Happy Mail that she sent me. So I'm going to grab my scissors. But isn't that pretty? I think it is. I'm going to open it up. Oh, that's really glued in there. Well, that's fine. We can handle that. There we go. This was an expensive little envelope that they sent her. And I'm gonna, there. And now I'm gonna fold it. I'm gonna fold it. Great. Now I'm gonna cut out, just freehand with my scissors, 2 almond shapes. Get rid of my scraps. And now, taking my glue stick, I'm going to start gluing these little green guys. I think. Oh, for heaven, there we go. There we go. It's summer and my glue stick is a bit gloopy. That happens. I've used all kinds of glue sticks, and when it gets near the end of the glue stick, I find that they want to sometimes get gloopy. And in the summer, and even though I've got air conditioning running, that's just been my experience. But I am just giving this a simple decoration. Now, maybe you've got a piece of paper that came with some junk mail that's red, and you could cut out some little hearts. Or maybe there's a little flower in the corner, and you can cut that flower out and add it to your journal. I mean, there's just no end to how much you can do to make these, you know, pretty and special, right? A few more. Let me know in the comments, please, if this is going to be something you're going to give a try, because I would love it if you did. I really would. Whoops. Got 2 here. I realize I might be off the screen. But I hope you give this a try. If you've been thinking about doing a junk journal but didn't want to invest a lot of money, or you were thinking that nobody really makes them from junk. Oh, I do. I've got one journal that I call a junky junk journal that I use as an art journal. Okay, there. I like that little page. Sure, why not? All right, let's get rid of some of these scraps. Good. And I've got some extra glue on my hand. Oh, just rub it in. I don't want to just get glue globs all over my book. Some of these are sticking up a little bit. I'll just, again, it's me. It's not the product, it's me. All right, I can fix the rest if they pop up later. All right, what else have we got? Oh, okay, this came in the Happy Mail, and I thought, what a beautiful front cover. No, it didn't come in Happy Mail. I take it back. This came from a friend of mine who works in a Hallmark store, and she, I'm just going to cut it because it's glued on. Let me see how far is the glue? All right, I'm gonna, I just think this would make a beautiful cover. Or as they call it, a journal topper. All right. I didn't get this line very straight. Well, I have a trimmer, but you don't have to have a trimmer. Get a ruler, make it nice and straight, but I am just working quickly because I know this video is going to be already pretty long. All right, now we've got straight lines. And maybe you have a trimmer from something else, but look, isn't that pretty? Now, same situation, and I've got this. Again, it's a ripped up Hallmark card. What if I glued it on here? That's beautiful, all right? Now, how is this put together? It's kind of the same scenario, but you know what? I'm just going to leave it. I am, because it is so stuck on there. But I'm going to want to use a really good glue. I'm going to use our glitter glue and glue stick to get it on there. Here we go. Now you can use your Elmer's and it would be fine. I just, again, for time's sake, I want to use the art glitter glue that's just a little bit stronger, and it sticks fast, really fast. So fast that I get nervous sometimes putting it on, that I won't get it everywhere I want it before it's already starting to dry, especially now that I've got air conditioning going. Your hands are going to get gluey. That's the joy of it. Okay. Now, I want to put this on. Straight is my main thing. Is that straight? I think it's pretty straight. And I'm going to give it a press. And again, this was just card scraps. And what I think was happening was at the Hallmark store, if a card came damaged, they can't sell it. Now, I buy envelopes from there that are their extras, and they bundle them up 10 for $1, and I just love them. If you're interested in a journal, a junk journal made out of these spare envelopes, especially if you've got some spare envelopes. Okay, can we get this on? I think so. Won't that be pretty? Sure it will. Just leftovers from greeting cards. You may have a whole tub of greeting cards. I know a lot of people that save greeting cards because they're too pretty to throw away. My family, we just don't send that many greeting cards. I am not a card maker per se, but when I need to send a card, I make them. So, but I don't get bunches of birthday cards and Christmas cards and all that. I just don't get them. And I don't send that many. All right. You can again do this with your Elmers. I'm just using the art glitter glue for speed. Kind of get it in the center. Kind of get it straight. Now, if you were doing this with Elmers, you'd probably want to set something heavy on here. But there is the beautiful cover of our journal. Okay, what else do I have in my... Well, I pulled out some other envelopes, and I'm going to just show you one more way that you can make a little pocket. We've got this where you can hide some things, and you know, there's journaling cards, there's pockets, there's tags, all kinds of things that you can put. But you know, it is a journal, and so for writing, now let's go with this one. The first thing I'm going to do with this envelope is, I know I've got scissors, I'm going to cut this part off as straight as I can without making myself nuts. There. Now, this part of the envelope isn't the prettiest thing I've ever seen. So I'm going to set my journal aside. I've got these left over. Why don't we use one of these? All right. It's just a little bit too big. Just a little bit. So I'm going to cut just a little bit off of here. And hope I didn't cut off too much. And yes, I'm putting the ragtag part inside. I may have to make it just a tiny bit. I'll go from this side this time. Just a tiny bit smaller. Measure twice, cut once. Isn't that what they say? When you make a video, things don't go as smooth as otherwise. Like moments like this. There we go. There we go. And now I'm just going to fold this over. Get myself some glue stick. And this is just one of those dictionary pages. There we go. And now, see what I have? And if you get your journal, you're going to say, well, it's too big. If you put it this way, it almost fits. And you may have an envelope that does fit. But what I like to do with these big, long, narrow envelopes, when I get one like this, I fold it in half. Get your bone folder. And then I find a page. So let's find a page. I was going to see about a page that maybe has writing in, like here. Okay? And I'm going to put it in just like this. Do you see what I'm doing? Now, I can, if I want, just glue it here and here. And then it'll be another pocket. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I don't want to put glue and seal it. So I'm going to put my hand here. Pardon me. Again, you can use your Elmer's. I'm just using this for speed. Putting it all along the bottom and right here. Okay. I'm going to start with this side. And now finish it on this side. Good. Good, 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 good. Now, you can, just closing up my glues. You can decorate and decorate and decorate. It's like I said, it's stone soup. If you have a little scrap of fabric, go for it. A nice scrap of lace, beautiful. Or leave it plain. Get another envelope. Glue it in the lid or in the cover. Make a place that you can put things. But this is a beautiful writing journal. We've got a pocket here, a pocket here. Now see, if this was something I could put it in here, well, of course the needles want to come out. Or I can put something in here. Same on the other side. Isn't that something? And more writing space. Oh, what's this? Oh, flip it out. I can put something hiding in there. And I can hide a little secret something in here. And if you have rubber stamps. Ah, isn't that nice that we did with the scrap from an envelope? Beautiful. Lots and lots of places. Maybe you've got some of those photos that you took on your phone. Run it through the printer. It doesn't matter what the quality is. It'll just be a little memory for you. Or you can put a receipt from a restaurant after you and your girlfriend had a great conversation. Yeah, all kinds of things can go in here. You can make it your prayer journal and put your prayers and answered prayers, thanks and all that kind of stuff. Do it. But this is just a sweet little journal. We did not run out to the store and buy a bunch of stuff. I realized that I made some of this with gifts, but these bits were heading for the garbage. So I'm so grateful to have them. I am going to clamp it shut, and I clamped this shut overnight. It will 90% stay shut the next day. It really, really will. Well, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel so much. And if you haven't subscribed, obviously, you need to subscribe today. Over here, another video is going to pop up just for you. I'm going to see you over there.